Did you know that in Smackdown Vs Raw 2010, if you decide to keep the lovely Mickie James waiting as she spins the wheel containing your Royal Rumble entry number, this will happen.
I'm getting the feeling you just like watching me do this. Hurry up! My arm's getting sore. The Royal Rumble is going to be over by the time you're ready. Okay, I'm done spinning. Take your number and get out of here. Good luck!
Hello and welcome to Hidden Video Game Details, the series that aims to show you things that you may not have known about your favourite games so that you can look really clever in front of the whole world. As always, don't forget to like this video if you enjoy my videos, subscribe and do all that YouTube algorithm stuff, and without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin with another AFK message found in a Plants vs Zombies game. In episode 81 of this series, we discovered that leaving your character idle for too long would cause a wholesome message to appear. Loads of you then pointed out that this isn't the only PvZ game that has this sort of message. In 2019's Battle for Neighborville, the idle message is this. That's not the only idle message in Battle for Neighborville. When you're booted back to Giddy Park, if you still don't touch your controller, this message will appear. I don't know why, but I really like these messages, so if you know of any other games that do something similar, then please let me know. Oh, and speaking of details from previous episodes, do you remember when we covered the craziest example of simping I think I've ever seen? For those of you that don't know, in episode 79 of this very series, we paired One Piece character Sanji up against a female fighter in Jump Force, only then to discover that Sanji refuses to hurt a woman, which is pretty important in a fighting game. Now, while Sanji could be seen as too respectful to women, on the complete other end of the scale is Ryo Saiba from the City Hunter series. Ryo is a bit of a pervert, hitting on any semi-decent women he comes into contact with. It's usually up to his partner Kaori to make sure that Ryo maintains at least the smallest amount of decency. And this even translates into Jump Force. When playing as Ryo, if you try to perform a grab attack on a female character, this will happen. So a giant hammer will hit Ryo before he can do whatever he planned on doing to his female opponent. As mentioned, this hammer belongs to Ryo's partner Kaori, who seems to be the only thing between Ryo and a long list of lawsuits. Next up is a game that is a newcomer to this series. Rubber Bandits is a multiplayer party game for up to 4 players. Players compete in 6 different game modes to steal the most loot and make it out alive. Now, to do that, you're going to need to do everything in your power to make sure the odds are in your favour. And you can do that by whacking seagulls. Yep, you heard that right. If you hit enough seagulls on any of the levels that have them, this will happen. I know I said that you want the odds in your favour, and the seagulls don't care who their explosive poop lands on, but the difference between making it out with your life and a ton of cash, or not making it out at all, could be dependent on where a seagull decides to go for a number 2. So when a game is as popular as The Last of Us 2 was, whether that be for the right or wrong reasons, many of the game's secrets, Easter eggs and hidden details are laid bare within the first few weeks of the game's launch. That's not the case with The Last of Us 2. To this very day, I'm still being told things about the game that I didn't know. One thing that I did know is that Abby is jacked. I mean, there probably isn't a lot to do in a world that has crumbled to ruin, so going to the gym is one of the more productive ways to spend your time. But did you know that she holds the bench press record at the WLF gym? If you look really, really closely, you can just about make out Abby's name at the top of the leaderboard. It's worth mentioning that you aren't able to enter the gym at any point in the game, so Abby's bench pressing heroics would have gone unnoticed by many. The other The Last of Us 2 detail is one that any of you who have played through the game will have seen, but may not have realised its significance. When Dina and Ellie stumble across a room where Tommy had tortured a couple of people, they find a code on the floor. The code is upside down, but reads 7302. However, if you squint a little, you could read the code as Joel. This could be a coincidence, but that seems highly unlikely. Let me know what you think down below. So the Grand Theft Auto remasters have come in for a fair bit of stick since their launch late last year. Rightfully so, of course. The trilogy released in a buggy, broken and unfinished state that was an insult to the games they were aiming to remaster. Since then, there have been updates to the trilogy, with the last one coming in March, but at least in my opinion, there is still a lot of work to do to get the trilogy up to scratch. Now, just because the trilogy isn't what it should have been, doesn't mean that there aren't some cool and, more importantly, funny details to be found. The streets of Vice City are littered with people on roller skates. Anyone who has used roller skates or even a skateboard will tell you that it's next to impossible to skate on grass or sand. With that in mind, and if you're feeling particularly sadistic, you can attack the roller skaters and stand on the sand, safe in the knowledge that they will never reach you.
Where is this place?
Right, let's end today's video with a game not too dissimilar from The Last of Us 2. What I mean is, both of these games were incredibly popular when released, and yet both games still have new discoveries being made to this day. The really cool detail found in Miles Morales can be found at the very beginning of the game. As Miles and Peter are escorting Rhino to prison, the inevitable happens and the hulking villain breaks free. As he is known to do, Rhino rampages through the New York streets and eventually a mall. By now, you are on Rhino's back, trying to steer him away from danger and at one point even pulling a baby out of his path.
Oh, baby fights me! Let's night! Gotcha! Thank you! You're welcome!
Well, if you fail the QuickTime event, Spidey drops in at the nick of time to save the baby. And if you enter photo mode, you can see that he does this. Like I said, I cannot believe that I'm still learning things from this game. In fact, this detail may be one of my favourite details in the entire game. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs, secrets and hidden details in video games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.